Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Camerascore, where we discuss everything media. Today we're talking about The Running Man, another Stephen King novel turned into a film. And I love that there's a reference to the Derry, Maine location from It, if you're familiar, which is not a real place in Maine. So that's how you know it's a reference to the clown, Pennywise himself. It's almost funny he's creating a Stephen universe. Well, I guess that's already taken, but Stephen King verse, I don't know. The point is, let's get into it. Let's start with the positives.
Hunt him down!
So for this film, a lot of the world building is really, really cool. It's very dystopian, Night City, Edge Runner, more lethal weapon kind, where there's a lot of high technology, but there's also the apocalyptic, barren wastes on the outside of the city. And then there's a lot of the Big Brother, the eye is watching you. They even make references to this TV specifically does not watch you back. And it's really cool to see the way that they carry out this world. Honestly, I wish they delved a little bit deeper into it before going straight into the Running Man aspect, because it is very cool to see these films poke fun at the way our world is unfortunately currently heading. Hopefully, it doesn't reach this far to where you have TVs watching you and people can't access the pharmaceuticals that they need. But who knows? It is really cool to see how the character goes at that system and the motivation that he has to do so. It really does a lot for the film in the way of motivation. With that, a lot of these characters are really, really endearing. The main character, played by Glenn Powell, is just a really cool working man who is standing up for unions and unfortunately pays the price for that. And when he really just wants to provide for his child and his wife. The character Molly is really cool as well because it shows the fixer type that operates in the gray area as someone has to in this type of world. He's the one who makes that reference to the television that people want to buy simply because it no longer watches you as you watch it. More of that big brother eye overwatching feeling in this. And I think his character is really cool, and I wish they delved a little bit deeper into him, more of the ethos of what he sells and his place in the larger world. Another person that was really endearing too, Michael Cera, as always. And this time, he's the revolutionary, the freedom fighter that wants the character Brendan, I believe his name is, played by Glenn Powell, to not just be this running man, to be someone who initiates the fight for the rest of these people, to have them believe, to continue with the struggle. It is a really cool angle that Michael Cera has with this, where he's a freedom fighter, but he's a little crazy, a little scary. There's aspects to him where he wants to antagonize these people. He wants to fight against the corporation, and his part is done exceptionally well. Another surprise here, Spencer from All American. I'm like, all right, he cool in All American. That show has its moments, but his role here is really solid. Almost like a futuristic Black Panther fighting against the system with really cool video edits and classic hip hop music that is very, very nice at times. I think the way he plays his characters is one of strength, one of intelligence, and one that flows really well with fighting back against the power and the systems in this film. It's done really well. Another thing that's done really well is the action, the shooting, the explosions, the fighting, the movement, the camera angles with the drones following the main character around. I love it all. The only thing I don't think is the greatest is the hand-to-hand combat, but for the most part, it's just shooting. I don't know the hand-to-hand. Shout out to Edgar Wright, but a little bit of it was a little bit too cross-cutty or too many fast movements to really keep up with what was going on with the punches. But everything else was superb. Another character that's amazing, Coleman Domingo. Just him as the announcer,
This is America, goddammit! And we don't put up with no bullshit!
the energy he brings is just, it's immaculate. The somber notes, the high notes, it's almost like a true performance in the way that he is bringing you the announcer vibes, but almost more than that. Now, another person that's really great, Josh Brolin, the aspect of Thanos, bringing that in. I love what he does in terms of being the exec at the top that's controlling all of this, that wants this competition to go for both ratings and both for the message. The way that he comes in on such somber notes and just makes the character feel so defeated, or gives them motivation in a way that almost seems like you have no choice but to follow him. Really, really solid performances from all of them. Now, there are a few negatives with this, and that's what we'll get into.
You better run! I got a grenade! Back at you.
The main negatives with this film, I feel like they went into the world of this futuristic society where you can't get good meds, you can't get good food, you're trapped into the system, and the corporations are controlling everything, including the government, and following you around with a watchful eye. They get into it, but not enough for me. I feel like they could have delved deeper into this world and built it a little bit more, especially with characters like Molly, who's that great fixer in between, who I feel like operates in a space where it's very crucial to know what he does and how he's been set up. Maybe they can establish that in something further if Stephen King allows a sequel on this one specifically. But I feel like roles like his could have been expounded on a little bit more to see more of the world and to see more of the people and how the government and corporations operate in this space. They show you a decent amount, but I feel like it could have been fleshed out a little bit more. And with that, not fleshing it out a little bit more, I feel like the aspects they did choose to flesh out don't necessarily correlate the best to this film experience. I feel like some of it was a little bit heavy handed in areas that it didn't need to be. And then on top of that, they include a character near to the end. I want to say maybe last 30, 40 minutes. And her performance was not the greatest. And it kind of attempted to serve the purpose of, look, this is someone from higher society that now believes in the cause. But both the combination of her performance and her lines just didn't really add too much to the film for me, in my opinion. It kind of takes away from the final finishing arcs. And to talk about the final finishing arcs, I feel like the conclusion of this film wasn't as big a resounding, yes, we did it, as I believe it should have been. It does have a satisfying conclusion. I'm not going to say that it's not satisfying, but it doesn't come together as a great piece should. It doesn't give you that full feeling of satisfaction that you get from other films that kind of build and build and build until this great pinnacle moment. It finishes in a solid way, which I won't spoil, but it doesn't finish in a way that leaves you feeling great about it. And this is in part due to a lot of the things that are left to imagination and a lot of the things that are kind of confusingly done and half explained by way of video or explanation at the end. Now, you do get the answers to those questions, but as you're on the roller coaster, it's like, well, are they doing it or are they not? And I understand that's the intended goal of it, but it just leaves you kind of feeling, that was cool how they did that, but that could have been executed a little better, in my personal opinion. And there's not too many things that take away, but those things that do take away are pretty significant. The ending of your film, the amount they delve into the characters, the amount they truly show the world and how they've built it. And finally, the way the characters contribute to the action in a way that makes it meaningful and very entertaining to say the least, which is what this film is. But I feel like it could have reached higher heights. And for that, I'm just here for the camera score. And for this, it's going to be a 7 out of 10. I could see you possibly pushing it to an 8, depending on how much you get into the action, but I am a big dystopian fan. I feel like this kind of teeter totters on the edge of sci fi, and I feel like they could have given us more of the characters, more of the world, and they could have given it a little bit better direction with the ending. That character that they added in at the end, she serves a little bit of a purpose, but not enough of a purpose for me. I don't really like her acting in it, and some of the lines, both with her and not to mention throughout the film, take away in a decent amount from this. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. You let me know in the comments. I can subscribe to see what I'm doing next. Subscribe? Subscribe. You know what I meant. It is what it is.